Hi everyone. I hope you are ready for a productive accounting session. For those of you who do not know me, let me introduce myself.
My name is Shantae. I am your accounting teacher for today. And I will be helping you master accounting. So we've had a look at the account. Asking and
welcome. Some technical difficulties on my side. Objective for the class is that we will continue debtors and creditors. We're going to do examples, some exercises and examples tomorrow as well. So I hope you are ready. If you have any information, if you have any question, Team Geeks, .zeta, or follow us on social media. We look at today, so you can follow there. So it seems as if I have some my sound, and I do or a power outage, so I am getting at or a power outage, so I'm using the generator. 5 minutes work things out. I don't want to hear me now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave and just quickly join. Sorry about this, but I think do you Hey guys, so sorry about this. Let us try again. Can everyone hear me? Great stuff. So I'm going to start my presentation all over for you from the start so that you guys hear me. I started off saying I hope you are ready for a productive accounting session and that we are ready to go. My name is Shante or Miss Groenewald, and I am your grade 12 accounting teacher or tutor. I currently teach grade 12s as well, so you are in good, capable hands. So we had a look at our bank recon before our debtors and our creditors recon, and now we're looking at our control accounts regarding debtors and creditors, and we have having a look at the theory. So we had a look on about the theory on Monday, and now we're having a look on exercises. We're doing exercises for debtors and creditors recons, looking at some ethical situations regarding debtors and creditors, looking at some internal control procedures and some internal auditing procedures regarding the debtors and the creditors. So we are going to be spending some time just doing more activities. These activities do come from old exam papers, so they are good exam techniques for you to do, so you're not wasting your time. It's also a good basis for you to have before just jumping into maybe IEB or the government year-end exams or prelim exams to start with. So we'll be doing this today and tomorrow. We'll see how far we get tomorrow. And then we still have VAT left. So for this term, we still have VAT left. If you want any information, if you want all of these slides, if you want these documents, these examples, please go and visit www.africateengeeks.co.za. Find all the information you need there. Please do not hesitate. If you have any questions, you can ask all the questions you want on there, and you can most definitely follow us on social media at Africa Teen Geeks. Okay, guys, let's get started. So today we will have a look at exercise 3.7. 3.7. So it says, you are provided with the creditors control account, which appears in the general ledger in Park Furniture. So let's just stop for a moment and revise what I told you. It's very important from a debtors and creditors point of view that we know exactly from which side are we looking. Are we looking at the debtor from the debtor side, or are we looking from the creditor side? So these things are really important so that you don't get confused, okay, that you know exactly what is expected of you. I remember we did the question, the example. I'm going to quickly go back. This example. And a lot of my students also found this example really hard. I don't know if some of you also struggled with it when we went through it, but something like, which creditor should I have debited and which did I debit? What amount should I use? So these are all things you should watch out for. Having a look from which side do I view it? Okay. So let's have a look. We have the creditors control account in the general ledger. What is given to us is my balance. Then we have our creditors control, right? All our purchases. You should know that this is just from your creditors journal. So all the purchases you made on credit, and then your CPJ, so what the payment you made in regards to the creditors, and then what returns did you give. So here, another thing very important, make sure that these tell you what we are working with. We're working with our credit stuff we bought on credit, the payments we made to our creditors, and the returns we had. to our creditors. Okay, let's do the first question. Name the source document that supports the entry of 34,500. So name the source document. Do you remember what the source document is? Can you remember? Hopefully you can. Let's have a look. The original renumbered credit purchase invoice. That's quite a mouthful. Now, what's important here? Original. That's the first thing that's very important. Okay. Why is it important? Okay, great. Luke, invoice. You are correct. Halfway there or 1/4 there. So why is it important to say original? When I talk about debtors, I specifically want the word duplicate. Whenever I buy something, so I purchase something, just think about going to Checkers. You get the original slip. And they keep a duplicate. So when we're working with debtors, we are specifically looking at duplicates because we give the original away. But when I make the purchase, I keep the original. So that's why the original is so important to have a look here. Now, the invoice is already numbered from the creditor side, but when I receive it, I have to renumber it. So I have to renumber it in order to say this was my second or my third or my 303rd invoice from this creditor. And then obviously your credit purchase invoice. Now, it's important to show credit because that indicates that we bought it on credit, not just a normal invoice. Invoice can be paid by a bank as well. So to say credit is very important. Okay, credit purchase invoice because obviously you purchased something. Now let's have a look at the second question. It says, give the contra accounts for the entry of 47,000 Rand. This is very easy on the debit side. So what is my contra accounts? What is my contra accounts? Okay, I'm going to move over. My bank and my discount received. Okay, this is very important because you will see that if you miss discount received, that's okay. That's not a problem. Our GJ just shows you that there were some discounts. Okay, so that's important to see. And then if you just wrote bank, that would be fine. So if you missed a discount received, then that would be okay, just saying bank. So obviously we know because CPJ is payment journal, so it indicates bank. Now let's look at 3.7.3. Give one possible explanation for the entry of 500 Rand. What is one possible explanation? One possible explanation. Quickly think about one possible explanation for that 500 Rand. Okay, the balance decreased from 28,000 Rand to 8,900 because payments were made of 47,000 Rand and it involved more than half of the present month's present month's credit purchases plus the opening balance. Normal credit terms are 30 days, and they as such pay faster than what they described. Okay, so basically it just says that we pay faster than what we should have paid. Normal credit terms are 30 days, and we pay faster. Okay, I forgot to mention here, it says even creditors, the policy of creditors as soon as possible, even the creditors allow 30 days. So that's where they got the 30 days from. This was a very hard question. Yeah, this was a level 4 question. So have a look. 3.7.4, creditors allowed park furniture discount of 420 Rand for early payment. How much was therefore actually paid to the creditor? Okay, how much was actually paid to the creditor? So what do? We say we made a payment of 47,000 Rand, but there was a discount received, right, of 420 Rand. So all you do, very easy, you just minus 20, you say this was physically then actually paid to the creditor. So don't get confused, just have a look on what was paid and go from there. Next up, the creditors list on 30 June shows a total of 12,200 Rand. What steps does the bookkeeper have to do? Explain briefly. So think about what I said. She should or he should obviously compare it. He should and she should compare it. So I'm not going to give you the answer just yet, but have a think about what did I mention? What did I mention in my previous lessons? If you have not yet got that lessons, please go and have a look on YouTube. Okay, let's have a look. Reasons for the difference with the balance must be searched and rectified. The balance of the creditors control list must correspond with the total of the creditors list. So that's what I told you guys. We must make sure that our creditors control account in our general ledger compares and agrees to my creditors list, my total of my creditors list. So that's quite important, okay? That's fairly important. So we need to make sure that that is the case. And then the differences we pick up must be rectified. It must be investigated. An example must be given on why there's a difference, because there should not be any difference. Next up. Park furniture are not satisfied with the quality of the furniture that they receive from the suppliers. Provide a figure with an explanation to support this opinion. So we know, I've now given you the answer to it, but we know that they return stuff. Where do I record all my stuff I return? In my credit allowance journal, right? Credit allowance journal. So provide a figure. I'm going to move on because I've done this with you. Provide a figure. There's my figure. So it says the CAJ figure of 6,900 shows an excess return in comparison with the figure of the credit journal. It is 20% of the credit purchases. So you would not have to say 20% of credit purchases. It just says provide a figure. So I would be more than happy with just you providing 6,900. Okay, so it's perfectly fine. Then 3.7.7, the creditors are paid too soon. Briefly and briefly explain and quote figures to support your answers. Have a look at the date. So whenever we look at too early or too late, have a look at the balances, at balance, at the closing balance. Have a look at what happens during the year. How much did I actually physically buy on credit? How much did I pay? That's quite a big difference. Just have a second and have a look at that. What would you say? What would you say? Okay. The balance decreased from 28,000 Rand to 9,800 because payments of 47,000 Rand involve more than half of the present month's credit purchases plus the opening balance. So we need to make sure, that's what I said, we need to make sure that, can you see the balance significantly decreased, and therefore that is the problem. That is the problem. Okay, last little exercise. We have about 20 minutes remaining. Let's just do one more exercise to see if we can get the hang of things. Prepare the creditor's reconciliation statement. Here's Luke's favorite. In the books of Lucum Stores on the 31st of May 2015. Information on the 31st of May 2015, the following accounts of Park Merchants appeared in the creditor's ledger of Lucum Stores. Okay, so here we have our creditor's ledger. And then it says, Lucum Stores received the following monthly account statement from Park Merchants. So we are, Park Merchants is a creditor to me, who is Lucum Stores. So firstly, have a look and from what view am I viewing this? So Lucum Stores, obviously, I'm Lucum Stores, and from a Lucum Stores point of view, Park Merchants is my creditor. So we have an account statement. What's very important is to check my balance in my account, right, versus the balance they have. Okay, big difference, big difference. First, compare the creditor's ledger with the statement, and then the following differences were noticed. Park merchants neglected to consider the discount for an early payment on 4 May 2015. So they made it, the creditor neglected. So we did it, but they didn't. Okay, my creditor didn't do it. So they neglected to account for my discount. So they gave me a discount, but they didn't account for it. Invoice number 1182 appearing on the account statement of 9 May 2015 was incorrect. It should be for purchases by Lucum wholesalers. Okay, so we are Lucum stores, and obviously this purchases was supposed to be for Lucum wholesalers, not Lucum stores. So they made these two errors, right? The other entries in the creditors ledger and the creditors account were correct. Then you make a little tick mark there, you write yay, you put a smiley face, you are happy. Study the given information regarding park merchants and answer the following questions. Park merchants sell 80% of their stock on credit and their credit terms are 30%. Okay, so this is now from park merchants side. Okay, so remember we are Park Merchants is a creditor to Lucum Stores, but Lucum Stores is a debtor in the eyes of Park Merchants. Required. Explain what action the bookkeeper should have taken when he discovered a difference of 6,800 Rand in the debtor's reconciliation statement. State 2 actions. Then we're going to calculate the correct balances owing by the following debtors, these three. Calculate the correct opening balance in the debtors control account on 1 Feb. The summary of the age analysis of debtors at the end of Jan shows the following. Does the business manage their debtors effectively? Why so? Give 2 measures taken to improve the situation. To receive a discount of 5%, parking merchants pay their creditors within 30 days. Do you agree with this philosophy? Why? Name 2 factors before paying creditors within 30 days. Here's more information about parking merchants. We have a reconciliation. There's the difference you need to explain. And then you have additional information saying the following errors were discovered and should be rectified. So these errors should be rectified. Goods sold on credit to half from Tunder. Here we go. 2,600 Rand was correctly entered into the debtors journal, but was posted as 6,200 Rand to half on Tunder's account in the debtors ledger. Okay, so the debtors journal is fine, but the debtors ledger is obviously a mistake. No entry was made for a check of 6,000 Rand cancelled by the bank due to insufficient funds. So he paid, but there was insufficient funds to settle his account. So we have to rectify the discount. That discount allowed, as well as my bank amounts. The debtors allowance journal was under cost 5,600 Rand, so it was obviously under. So we need to rectify that. And all invoices issued to J Miller for 2,400 Rand, J Miller has a question mark here, has been posted to the wrong side of his account. So obviously we need to rectify this. Now, let's do Luke's favorite first. Have a look at the creditors. I'm going to give you this information. Let me just try and zoom out and for a moment. I don't know if you can still see. Maybe this is best. So you are going to draw up a creditors reconciliation. Okay. We are going to do a creditors reconciliation statement. So first up, quickly, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to quickly complete your creditors reconciliation statement so that we can mark it. Here is all the information you will need. Okay, let's have a look. So we have a debit balance per our account statement of 3,675 Rand. That's how we get per statement. So we always start with our statement. Always start with our statement. That's important. Then the discount they neglected to take into account, was this 275 Rand. Okay, how do I see that? Because that both is in my CPJ and that's a small amount, so we immediately know that is our discount that they forgot to take into account. So I need to reduce my balance. Okay, my outstanding balance from their statement. And we they incorrectly debited our accounts, right? They increased our account, but it was not us that bought something on credit. It was a Lucum wholesalers, not us Lucum stores. So therefore, I'm going to reduce my balance with that as well. Then you'll see they forgot to take this invoice into account. So I bought stuff on credit the last of the month. What should have triggered that was, you should see this includes all purchase and payments up to the 25th of the month. So you should see, oh, I had something here at the end of the month, so I needed to take that into account. Yesterday we had the same issue, so have a look for any hints like that. So then we had to take that into account, and we also had to take in account the payment. So that payment that wasn't taken into account, right? So therefore those two balance. How does it look? Did you guys do well? Did you guys do well? Let's quickly look at the required. So explain the action the bookkeeper should have taken when he saw this difference. And now we've done a million of these questions, so let's just quickly go to the question. And the answer is, you should check the entries in the subsidiary journals and look for adding errors or posting mistakes. So did you maybe make a finger error? Did you make a posting error? Make sure follow up the differences. 2 actions, follow up the differences. Okay, but how? Okay, by these 2 things. Now 8.2, calculate the correct balances for the following debtors. Okay, so these were our debtors, right? And then they gave us these information. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to quickly do it. Just roughly try and quickly calculate the new balances using this information as well as this. Okay, let's have a look. So we have, when we look at bear, right, nothing was said about Al Bauer, so we're fine. So if we have a look here, remember this check got cancelled and we had to write back the discount. So that's why this whole amount is being added, because I'm just reversing my payments and my discount allowed. Half Antonder had a mistake, right? Had a mistake. So I just needed to make sure that you can give me the net effect, that's fine, or you can do it this way. I prefer it this way, that I make sure that I don't make an error. I just erase everything that was done and I bring in what should have been done from the start. So that's where they got that figure from. Very easy and simple. And then my 7,000 Rand year Miller was obviously incorrect from the start. So then that's how I got to 11,800. Sorry for that. I just quickly had to sneeze. Okay, let's do the last few questions. Let's not rush it, but let's quickly just have a look at 3. Calculate the correct opening balance on 1 Feb. So we just take our new opening balance and all those amounts into account, as well as these new guys. Okay, that's all we do to get our closing balance, basically. Then having a look at our age analysis, we had to say, does the business manage their debtors effectively? Why so, or why not? Now there's big amounts outstanding, so I can immediately tell no. And what I need to look at is how much money is being owed to me from 3 months ago. So that's a big amount. So no, there's no effect being managed effectively. So give 2 reasons to tell me why you say that. No, the terms is 30 days. So here we say 30 days are credit terms, right? And have a look at how much is outstanding. So we have a credit terms of 30 days. So please always bring in your credit terms. In a debtors and a creditors question, always refer to your credit terms. That's very important. No, the terms is 30 days, but 52,000 Rand is outstanding for more than 30 days. So that's how they just got it. They just basically added these together. So added these together, these 3 together. And 44,000 Rand more than 60 days. So they just added these 2 together. So you have to tell me with providing figures what is the problem. So you have to then take action by charging interest on overdue accounts, sending out account statements more often, investigate the creditworthiness. So that if you can remember yesterday, I always said in a debtors question and a creditors question, or debtors specifically, always refer to credit worthiness. Debtors, you refer to credit worthiness. It's so important, okay? So have a look, show me your credit days, show me your amounts. Always put interest into your answer, your credit worthiness, always add that. And then obviously to remind your debtors more frequently about their debts, send out statements more regularly. These days with emails, it's so cheap. It's not even costing paper or ink or whatever. Last question as we finish up. To receive a discount of 5%, Parky merchants pay their creditors within 30 days. Do you agree with this philosophy? Name 2 factors. So yes, no. So you are more than welcome to say yes or no. And our creditors are paid before money is received from debtors. So that's very important. Remember yesterday I said 30 days for debtors, 90 days for creditors. So I have more time to pay my creditors so I can have cash flow in my business. Now I'm paying my creditors before my debtors are even paying me. Can you see what cash flow problem that can cause? You have interest on money borrowed while they only get a 5% discount. So this doesn't make sense. This does not make sense because you're physically losing more money because you're paying more interest while you're only getting a smaller discount. And that concludes our session for today. So that concludes our session for today. So we will continue tomorrow with 3.9 and 3.10, and then we will start Monday with that. I hope that helped you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.